Good morning. Good morning. Let's make sure we are all good. Good morning from the desert.
Make sure
Another amateur mistake. I thought I fixed that last time. Perfect. So we're live. Welcome. This is the second Everyday English with English Outside the Box episode, helping you improve your everyday English skills and take your fluency to the next level. How great is that? So if you're watching this live, I want you to join the chat, join the conversation on YouTube. We have good morning from Colombia, good morning from Pakistan, and morning from Morocco. Awesome. So we already have a lot of people from around the world. Dora, so we have Malaysia here. Awesome. So if anyone is new, if anyone is watching this replay later, if anyone is not sure who I am Jennifer Nascimento, and I'm the teacher, the founder, and the creator of English Outside the Box. As I mentioned, my goal with English Outside the Box is to connect English learners around the world with everyday English opportunities. I like to present information that is real English, everyday English that you will see, hear, need, use, and want. And today I'm really excited about this live lesson because I'm talking about how to speak English like a native speaker. And there's a lot of different parts to that. So I'm really excited to share this lesson. So as you're joining, continue to tell me where you're from. Teacher Estella. Estella, you are a teacher. Are you an English teacher as well from Argentina? And you're new. I am so excited to have you. I'm so excited to have you. So what we're going to do in this live lesson, just like last time, I'm going to be presenting you information and giving you this live lesson. I'm going to communicate with you in the chat as much as I can. So please ask your questions. Please continue saying hello. Please connect with each other so you can utilize the language you're using and learning here today. This lesson is also going to be on my blog next week. So if you missed something from this lesson or you want to review the information again, all of this information is going to be available on englishoutsidethebox.com/blog. You can go to englishoutsidethebox.com, and on the top of the page, you can click blog. On that blog, there are hundreds and hundreds of English lessons about grammar, pronunciation, vocabulary, idioms, all kinds of stuff. So we have Argentina, we have Brazil representing, an English teacher. Teacher Estella, you are an English teacher. You need to practice your speaking, of course, and you're shy when you speak. So I hope, Estrella, that you read and watched my last lesson from last week. I did a student success story, and I did an interview with Mauricio from Brazil, and he gave his 3 tips on overcoming the fear and shyness when speaking English. So I really think that lesson would be very helpful for you. New Jersey, Simo, hello, welcoming other people, great. So we are going to get right into this live lesson, and we're going to talk about how you can speak English like a native speaker. There are many different things you can do. There's many, many parts to this fluency puzzle, but today we're going to talk about 3 of them, okay? We're going to get right into it with tip number 1. If you want to sound like a native English speaker, the first thing you need to do is get more comfortable with more natural greetings. Now, what do I mean by a greeting? What are some different types of greetings? Okay, I want you to tell me in the chat if you're watching live, and if you're watching this replay, I want you to take a minute and write some down. How do you greet someone in English? A greeting is a hello. So how do you say hello to somebody in English? How do you start a conversation? Okay. So Simo, I like your videos. Thank you for your help. Thank you. I'm so happy they help. So I'm going to give you a minute because I know there is a delay on the live lesson, and I want to give you time watching the replay to write some answers. So what are some ways to say hello, to start a conversation? What are some different greetings in English? Mazar started teaching 10 days ago. It is so nervous when you start teaching. Think about these live lessons. These can be nervous too. We got hello from India. We have Dora. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. So I was really surprised when I was teaching at a language school, and one of the books that they had for the beginning level students had this type of introduction. You know, it was one of the first things that they learned was greetings, hellos, and I think the verb to be. And in that, it showed a conversation. And the conversation went like this. Person 1, hi, how are you? Person 2, I'm fine, thanks, and you? I'm good, thank you. So unnatural for so many reasons. It's so unnatural for so many reasons. Hello, Anna Paula. So most likely, if you were learning English from a book or you started learning English from the bottom, you learned this type of conversation. Hi or hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you, and you? I'm fine, thanks. So I'm fine is what most English learners learn as a response to the question, how are you? Which is, I think, not a very common response at all. The word fine, I'm fine, indicates that you are okay. You're satisfactory. Okay. So when you are okay, you're not good, you're not great, you're not bad either, but I'm fine, I'm okay is such a impersonable and not really the best response, I think, if you are wanting to speak more like a native speaker. So instead of saying I'm fine and saying I'm okay, I want you guys to practice more adjectives. Practice adjectives that actually reflect how you feel. If somebody asks, hi, how are you? Tell them how you really feel. I'm good. I'm great. I'm fantastic. I'm doing really well. I am really well. Or if it's on the negative side, I'm okay. I've been better. I'm all right. Not too bad. Not so good. Okay, so there are a variety of different ways that you can answer that question. So that is your first challenge today, is when somebody asks you, how are you? Do not say, I'm fine. Try to find a different adjective to use to answer that question. Okay, going to the chat, we have Somalia teacher, nice to meet you. Hello, dear teacher. Hello, hello. So Turbo says, I say, hey, how are you doing? How are you? What's new, Connie? Great. Kumiko, welcome. Hi. We have Aruna says, how are you doing? Dora says, I'm busy. How? So Tuba, you wrote, how is going? I'm going to correct that. How is it going? We still need to have that subject in there. How is it going? Yes, all English teaches that way. Yes, so Anna is confirming that when she has learned English, or all English teaches, hi, how are you? I'm fine, thanks, and you? I'm fine. Stop with that conversation, okay? So we talked about how you can respond. You want to give an adjective that's more real, that's more true for you. You want to connect with the person you're talking in English to. So don't give a answer. So give an adjective that represents you and how you really are feeling. We also want to do, I'm doing great, yes. How has life been good to you? Dora says, has life been good to you? Great. So there are also different ways to say, hi, how are you? So I'm going to give you some of those as well. Again, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly because there are a lot of different ways. Try to write down what you hear me say. And then, of course, you can always watch the replay of this video on the blog next week on Tuesday. So other ways to say, hi, how are you is, hey, hi, hello, how are you? How are ya? How's it going? How's it been going? How have you been? That was a lot. So let me repeat some of those. How are you is often going to sound like, how are ya? How are ya? Okay. In addition to how are you, you can say, how's it going? How have you been? How have you been? How's life? What's new? What's going on? What's happening? Okay, so these are all different ways that you can greet someone and say hello in English to sound more like a native speaker. Are there any questions about this first part one of how to speak English like a native speaker? I'm going to hop into the chat here. I am out of the box. Mazar. I'm glad you're out of the box. You're learning English outside the box with me. So, okay, so those are different ways that you can say hello. So tip number one to sound and speak more like a native speaker is to lose the stale, boring conversation structure of, hi, how are you? I'm fine, thanks, and you? I'm good, thanks. Lose it, okay? Don't use the word I'm fine unless you really are only okay. As a review, you can say, hi, how are you? How's it going? How's it been? How's life? How have you been? How are you? What's going on? What's new? What's happening? Okay? Responses can be a variety of adjectives. I'm good, I'm great, I'm fantastic. I'm well, I'm doing well. Or not too bad, okay, I'm fine if you really are only fine. Not too good, not so great, I've been better. Those are a variety of things that you can say. So we have, hey, which one is the correct sentence? Please guide me. I'm finished doing something, or I've finished doing something. Please guide me. I'm finished doing something, or I've finished doing something. So Aram, handsome Efran. I'm not wearing my glasses today, if you could tell. I think next time I should wear my glasses here. You speak English fluently, teacher. Thank goodness I speak English fluency. I've been doing it for many years. Handsome Efron, I'm going to answer that question later, or actually, Handsome Efron, for that question, can you please join the Facebook group, English Outside the Box, and come in and ask that question, because that is a very complex answer. There's not just one answer. It depends on context, depends on your emphasis, depends on when you finished, and it depends on a lot of information for that. Hop into the Facebook group and you can ask that there. All right, good. Tip number two on how to sound more like a native speaker is to increase your use of idioms, phrasal verbs, and collocations. If you want to sound more like a native speaker, you need to increase your use of idioms, collocations, and phrasal verbs. I have mentioned my blog a lot. That's because there are so many resources that are still valuable for you and will still help you improve your English. So I'm going to tell you again about some lessons on English Outside the Box. Again, if you go to the website, EnglishOutsideTheBox.com, and click blog, on the right-hand side, you will see a search bar, a place that you can search. In that search bar, you can type in idioms. You can type in phrasal verbs. And you will see a variety of lessons teaching a variety of idioms and a variety of phrasal verbs. Idioms and phrasal verbs are a lot like new vocabulary. You need to learn the meaning, learn the definition, understand how to use them, and then immediately begin using them in conversation. So review those lists, review the resources that I have, and that is one way for you to start. Dora asked about collocations. What are collocations? I'll give you a second to think about your answer. Maybe I'll give you a second to write down your answer in the chat or on your piece of paper, because I like to give you an opportunity to think about the answer before I just give it to you, because you're a little more likely to remember. So does anybody have an idea of what a collocation is? And maybe an example of that? While you're thinking and while you're writing, I'm going to answer Aruna's question, when to use how are you doing? How are you doing? It's the same way you would say, how are you? How are you doing? How are you going? How are you? Those are all the exact same question to get the same information. So collocations. Collocations are going to be words, phrases that, yes, Connie, you took the words right out of my mouth. Kumiko, right out of my mouth, you took those words. So I would say collocations are words, verbs, prepositions that always go together. Kumiko said as well, collocations of words that are used together. Absolutely. So I want you to think about one of my favorite examples. We have the words fast and we have the words quick. Both of these have a very similar meaning, at a high speed or happening very at a high speed. Fast and quick, those are two of the same words. Then we have the word food, right? McDonald's. What kind of food is McDonald's? Fast food? Or is it quick food? It's fast food. So even though quick and fast have the same meaning, quick food doesn't sound natural. It doesn't exist. That's not what we call food like McDonald's. We call it fast food. Fast food is an example of a collocation, is an example of a word or words, fast and food, that are always used together. Simo, like fast food. Did you write that before you heard my example? That is incredible. We waste a lot of our precious time in English and learn everything wrong. No, Anna Paula Silva, don't think like that. It's not that you're learning wrong. It's you want to, when you begin learning English, you need to learn some of the basics, some of the foundation, something to get you going. And then you can add difficulty. Then you can add more advanced things. So you didn't learn wrong. You're just now learning something more advanced, okay? So think of it that way. You didn't learn something wrong. Now you're just learning something more advanced. All right, no problem. So tip number 2, how to sound more like a native speaker: increase your use of idioms, phrasal verbs, and collocations. Now, I'm going to give you a couple examples today, but remember, on the blog, you can search for so many more. But let's talk about the idiom to miss the boat. To miss the boat. What does it mean if you miss the boat? Again, this idiom is being used figuratively. I don't mean you buy a ticket to go onto a boat and the boat leaves without you. I don't mean that. The idiom, the figurative meaning of to miss the boat. What does it mean if you miss the boat? I'm going to give you an answer, a minute to think about it. I'm going to give you an answer to try to write it down, and then give you an answer to think of maybe an example if you have one. To miss the boat as an idiom or a figurative expression. What does that mean? And then we are going to talk about a collocation as well, or some collocations with the verb miss as well. Connie is the English outside the box superstar this morning. To miss the boat means to miss an opportunity. So if you're feeling a little shy and you didn't want to give your answer, that's okay. Don't be shy. But to miss the boat means to miss an opportunity. To miss the boat means to miss an opportunity as an idiom. So in order to use that, you want to create a sentence, you want to create a discussion question, and now that you've learned the idiom and the meaning today, immediately start using it. So when's the last time you missed the boat on something? What did you miss the boat on? You can answer that question and practice it, and you can do that in the chat box. You can do it in our Facebook group. If you're watching this replay, you can do it below in the comment sections. So to miss the boat means to miss an opportunity. For example, all of my friends were able to buy a discounted flight to Europe. Tickets went on sale for a flight to Europe for $10, and everybody bought it, but I did not. I missed the boat. I was working, I couldn't buy it, I missed the boat. Okay, that means I missed that opportunity to buy that cheap plane ticket to Europe. I wish that were true, but that's not true. All right, to make a mistake, Simo. So we have to make a mistake. Great guess, but no. Is there any phrasal verbs for introduction? Just saying hello, Aruna. We'll get to that later. So Simo, to correct you, to miss the boat means to miss an opportunity, okay? I gave you an example. I gave you a couple of questions that you can ask, so you can practice this by answering the question, when's the last time you missed the boat on something? Or in what situation did you miss the boat? So you can answer that by saying, I wasn't able to go to Europe. I missed the boat. Or I missed the boat when? And that's how you can start using this expression. So then we have miss as a collocation. So I want to give you an example of a collocation with miss. So we use miss with a class or with an opportunity. For example, there are a lot of students who are sleeping right now. So they are missing this class. They are missing the class. Because they're missing the class, they missed an opportunity to talk with me live. To miss an opportunity. So the verb miss is often used with a noun like a class, an event, or an opportunity to say that you lost that opportunity. Now, Portuguese speakers, and probably Spanish speakers, but I've heard this a lot with Portuguese speakers, you often use the verb lose instead. I lost a class, I lost an opportunity. But we do not use the verb lose in English, we use miss. If you miss a class or you miss an opportunity, that means you are not able to be a part of it, okay? So tip number 2, how to sound more like a native. You want to use more idioms, phrasal verbs, and collocations. Today we reviewed the idiom to miss the boat, which means to miss the opportunity. And we reviewed some collocations with miss, like to miss the class or to miss an opportunity. You can learn more on my website, on the blog, and immediately start using those so you can increase your fluency. Number 3 is the most exciting, and I think you are all going to really enjoy tip number 3 on how to sound more like a native speaker. Tip number 3, we have improve your pronunciation by using more contractions. If you want to sound like a more native speaker, you need to begin to use contractions. You need to use contractions. It's very clear when I speak to somebody and they say, I will go to the store today. It kind of indicates to me that maybe they're not a native English speaker, because naturally in everyday conversations, casual conversations, and even in professional business type settings, it's more common to use the contraction. I'll, I'm, I've, etc. So if you want to sound more like a native speaker, I highly, highly recommend that you begin reviewing, practicing, and perfecting your contractions in English when you're having a conversation, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about some of these contractions. I'll show you how they should look in terms of your mouth position. I'll show you how they should sound because you're listening to the audio, and I'll give you some time to practice these with me. So get ready. We're going to review these contractions. Let me just hop in the chat to see if there's anything I missed. Missed the bus and I lost the key. Missed the boat. Ma'am, I tried to study novels Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen and started dozing after only 10 lines. Very classic book, Mazhar. So maybe you can try something a little more interesting or something you're a little more interested in. Pop up and pop out. Quick explanation. So Quan Crown, we're talking about this today, so I'm going to hold off on that question to win a challenge. So you can win something, chance gone. I'm learning English with your tips because I don't want to miss the boat to get fluent. To get fluent in English, Anna Paula, to miss the chance, yes. All right, so everyone, I want to just pop in that these live lessons I'm teaching on a very specific topic, and I want you to be able to answer live or answer questions, ask questions live for me to answer them live based on the material we're learning today. So it's just like a real class, a real learning opportunity. If I answered everybody's questions about all of the other topics right now, number 1, this lesson would go very long. Number 2, it would take a long time and a lot of distraction from the information today. So specific questions on different topics, you can ask. If they're related, I'll get to them. At the end, if there's time, I'll review them. But questions on different topics, I recommend going in the Facebook group and connecting with me there, because we're talking about how to speak English like a native speaker today, okay? So now we're gonna start reviewing pronunciation. So I want you guys to get ready for pronunciation, all right? Yes, Anna, to get fluent. Is it you should have used, okay? You should have used contractions. Yes, you should have used contractions if you wanna speak like a native English speaker. All right, yes, so let's review contractions. Let's start with the future will. So with the future will, you have I will, you will, he will, etc., etc. Let's go over these contractions. So what I want you to do is pay attention to how my mouth looks, the position of my mouth, the position of my lips, and listen how it should sound, okay? So we're going to go with I'll, you'll, he'll, she'll, we'll, they'll. One more time, and I want you guys to say it with me. I'll, you'll, he'll, she'll, we'll, they'll. We also have the contraction it with will, and it would sound like it'll, okay? Although we might not write it'll too much, it definitely is what we say in a conversation. I'll, good job, Bobby. You want to get comfortable saying these contractions alone first. I'll, you'll, he'll, etc. And then you want to add sentences and make them more challenging with sentences. You also want to connect these contractions with real words to show you that you can pronounce them. A lot of my students say like, oh, I'll, it's so hard. But think about the word A-I-S-L-E. A-I-S-L-E, aisle, like in the aisles of a store. That word, aisle, has the same pronunciation of I'll, I will. So make a connection of common words that you might say to practice these contractions as well. For example, he will, he'll, sounds like heel, that bottom part of your foot. We will, wheel, sounds like the noun wheel, the circle that that goes around and around. So make the connections of real words to practice, okay? So you can always watch this video and listen again to this audio next week to practice more contractions. We also have the I am, or the verb, the subject and the verb to be. So I'm. Don't forget to close your mouth to make that M ending sound, because a lot of my students miss it. So for example, I'm teaching English. I'm teaching English. I'm teaching English. So although I don't say I'm teaching English, when I say it quickly, you can still see my mouth comes together before it goes to the next sound. I'm teaching English. I'm teaching English. A lot of my students say I teaching. They don't close their lips for I'm, okay? You have to close it for I'm, he's, she's, okay, etc., etc. I think you know those ones. We're also going to use the contractions with the present perfect. So I've, they've, we've, you've, okay? And he's and she's for, and it's for it, she, and he has. A lot of comments in the chat. A lot of comments. Louise Suarez, great. You're putting in yours right there. Bobby, I'm. Simo, your. Let's talk about ain't. I ain't your. Okay, the word ain't. A-I-N-T. Ugly English. It's incorrect, but you'll hear it probably in movies and in TV shows. Ain't is a very slang, very incorrect, very ugly English for all of the I am, he is, she is, you are, etc. So the word ain't can actually be used with all subjects. Again, it's not correct. It's incorrect English. It's slang. It's ugly. However, you will hear it. So I ain't a teacher. You ain't a teacher. He ain't a teacher. We ain't a teacher. Okay? That's how you would probably hear it in movies. But again, don't practice that because you don't want to get into the bad habit of actually using that. I was going to catch fish on a boat with friends, but because of some work, I missed the boat. Mazhar, going back to the miss the boat, you're actually using it very literally. You missed the boat, meaning you weren't able to go on the boat to get fish. So a little different than the idiom miss the boat, which is to miss any opportunity related to an actual boat or not. All right. Okay, we have, but it's cool. But it's cool, Louise. Antonio Suarez ain't is not cool. It's not cool. It's not cool. I promise you. I promise you. I really focus on teaching you guys real, useful, valuable English. And I promise you, ain't is not something that's cool that you want to do. All right. So that is how you want to sound more like a native speaker in terms of pronunciation, is getting more comfortable with your contractions. Whatever level you are right now, start practicing and start using contractions today, today, today. The longer you wait to use contractions when you speak, the harder it will be to remember to use them later. I have advanced students who speak English very, very well. They've never used contractions, so it's almost like learning this new language for them, okay? Get used to your contractions right now. Some more examples in the chat with miss the boat and miss this class. Good. All right. So get comfortable with contractions. So let's give you some actionable steps today with this lesson for you to start improving your English. So as a reminder, we said 3 tips today to how to sound more like a native English speaker. Number 1, get more comfortable with more natural greetings. Don't just always say, I'm fine, and don't always ask, how are you? Introduce new phrases. How's it going? How are you doing? How have you been? Introduce new answers. I've been good. I'm great. I'm doing well. Second, you want to learn and use more idioms, collocations, and phrasal verbs. I taught miss the boat today, which means to miss an opportunity. I gave you some collocations with miss, to miss a class or to miss an opportunity. And you want to immediately start using those. So I want you to write your own sentences, create a discussion question, and use them in a conversation today with a friend, with a family member, or your English conversation partner. You can also write this sentence example and your discussion question in our Facebook group or underneath this video on the blog in the comment section if you're watching the video later. The third and final way that you can sound more like a native English speaker is to use contractions. So use contractions. There are a lot of different contractions for time, and not to overwhelm you, I only gave you a few to work on today. So the contractions with will, the contractions with the present tense of to be, and contractions with the auxiliary have for like the present perfect. So let's review those one more time, paying attention to the mouth and how they sound. I'll, you'll, he'll, she'll, they'll, we'll, it'll. We have I'm, your, he's, she's, it's, we're, and there. And with the auxiliary of has or have, I've, you've, he's, she's, it's, they've, and we've. What I want you to do to practice these is write a very small text about you. So tell me or write down who you are. So I'm your name, I'm your age, I'm from blah, blah, blah. And write something about a friend. My friend is John, he's 17, and he's from Brazil. So write some text using the present tense. Write some text including the present perfect. I've never been to the United States, but I've been to Canada. And then write down some sentences with will talking about things you might do, because remember, we use will for the future tense only with things that are not a plan. So I think I will visit the United States next year. So you're going to write a text using these tenses. Then I want you to say them out loud, read the text out loud, focusing on the contractions. So I'm John, I'm 20 years old, I'm from Brazil. I think I'll go to the US next year, but maybe I'll go to Australia instead. My best friend will go to Argentina. My best friend will go, he'll go. Got it? So those are ways that you can immediately start using and practicing everything you've learned here today. We're going to wrap it up, so I want to leave maybe a minute or two to answer some questions related to this lesson, because we've already been doing about 40 minutes, which is a really long lesson to watch later. So in the chat, we have some other contractions: gotta, have to, coulda, oughta, shoulda. Absolutely, Louise. Those are great. I didn't miss the boat for today's lesson. The train's already left the station. So the train has already left the station. The contraction: the train's already left the station. The train's already left the station. Okay? So again, you really want to focus on utilizing these contractions. I am so happy you joined me today in this live lesson. We had a lesson on Thursday and we had a lesson today on Saturday. Saturday seems to be the most popular and the most requested. So we are going to continue live lessons at the same time every Saturday. Okay, these live lessons are going to be a great opportunity for you to connect with me, to connect with English learners, and to answer questions about a live lesson as if you were in a classroom. So it's really, really a great opportunity for you if you are learning English. A couple of things I would love for you to help me do is to share English Outside the Box, share this video, share my blog with your friends learning English. If you know someone learning English, share the blog with them and help them learn English with me as well. Remember, if you have not signed up for my emails, then you can sign up on my website as well on the front page, or by going to EnglishOutsideTheBox.com/sign up. SIGNUP, sign up, and you will immediately get access to all of my English lessons and resources that I send every Tuesday. A lot of learning opportunities with me. I teach every day on Instagram, so find me and let's connect. So we have, I gotta go, I'll see you next class. Great, Louise, it was so great. Simo, you're a wonderful teacher. Thanks for your help. Thank you, thank you. Lee, there's a lot of people from Brazil here. Quran says sometimes I'll is pronounced like all, and where is also pronounced like we're. I'll go, I'll, and all does sound similar, but where and we're does not. We're there, where are you? We're there, where are you? We're where, we're where, we're where. Okay, so those ones are different. I gotta go. Simo, more examples of collocations, or no, this is not Simo, this is Aruna. Aruna Kumari, more examples of collocations: to take a test, to take an exam, to take a road trip. So those are some more collocations with take. You rock. Thank you, Louise. Good morning. Lee, alguém me explica o que eu miss the boat? Não entendi direito. Então, Lee, miss the boat é quando você perdeu uma oportunidade, okay? So it's when you miss an opportunity. In Portuguese, you use the verb lose to lose an opportunity, perder, but we do not use that in English, okay? We use the verb miss. To miss the boat means to miss an opportunity, to lose the chance to be a part or do something. Yes, I do speak Portuguese. I'm sorry for my students who don't speak Portuguese watching, but that is that. All right, I will see you next Saturday. Everyone, thank you for the Portuguese. So everyone, I wanted Thank you for joining me. Thank you for learning with me. Don't forget to share English outside the box with your friends. Sign up to receive weekly lessons. This lesson and the description of everything and practice exercises will be on the blog on Tuesday. So check out the website and blog for that, and I will see you next week. Bye. Happy studying.